Eve, thank you so much for coming on Wake Up and sharing your story.
Marcy, thank you so much for having me here today.
Your son Isaac passed away from an accidental overdose in January of 2014. Can you share with us his story, his struggles, and how that impacted you?
First of all, Sunday was actually 10 years since he passed away.
Oh my God.
So it's kind of a crazy milestone, I guess you would say. So Isaac was 23 years old when he passed away, and he struggled for years with trying to stay sober, trying to be in recovery, and it was just such a challenge for him. From when he was a little boy, he always had issues, whether it was ADD or he had a little bit of OCD, and he was a great kid, happy, fun, funny, good looking, like everything about him was great, but he never really loved himself from when he was a little kid because he always felt a little bit different from the other kids. So he got into drugs when he went to college, actually.
Okay.
Maybe late in high school, but when he went to college, and it just overtook him completely. It was like this demon that just took over his brain, and he was no longer this Isaac that I knew.
Yeah.
And he overdosed one time a couple of years before that, and he was in and out of treatment, which is very normal for people who are trying to be in recovery. It's not always like one and done. And in 2014, he overdosed. This was 6 months after I got married. He was actually at my wedding with a sober friend. We kind of did everything right, so we thought. But after that, he just went down this path of, starting to drink again, starting to do drugs, and he really didn't want that because he always told me, I never want to go there again. I never want to go to that dark place. But once he went there was no turning back.
There's no turning back. As of 2023, I believe there were over 109,000 accidental drug overdoses. So many families are struggling out there. What would you say to the families, to the mothers, some inspiration or some kind of help that they could seek? What can they do?
Well, the first thing I tell parents who call me, whose child is struggling, I say, what are you doing for yourself? Because honestly, there's only so much that you can do for a young person unless they want to get better, or for anybody. Unless they want to get better themselves. It's very hard to force them. So I see these parents and they are at their wits' end. And I know because I was there with Isaac. I mean, it's very, very frustrating and very difficult and very painful to be living with someone who's in active addiction.
Yeah.
And he's even trying to stay sober. And so one of the things I say is always get help for yourself. Find a good support group. That's number one. And talk to your child. Make sure that there's an open communication there, that they know that they can come to you, that they're not going to feel ashamed or embarrassed to talk to you about this subject.
Right. Always really important to open up the lines of conversation and to get help for yourself. Because educating yourself on what's available out there it's such a priority and such an important thing to do for yourself. So you had this tragedy. How did you turn it around for yourself?
Well, for me, you never know what kind of person you're going to be. When Isaac passed away, I mean, I remember this one scene in my head that always plays out is that when I got to the funeral home and I was in the back of the car and my husband was trying to get me out of the car, I couldn't move. I was frozen. I said, I can't do this. I can't. I can't be going to my son's funeral. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. How am I going to even do this?
Right.
And then, I come from a family of very strong women and strong people, and it's like, you have to go on with your life. That's always what I was taught. Bad things happen and you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and move forward. And I woke up one day and I said to my husband, I know what I want to do. And he said, what do you mean? Like, you have a job, you do something every day. I said, no, I know what I want to do to honor Isaac's life. And so I came up with this idea of Big Vision, because I felt for Isaac, the one thing he was really lacking amongst many things was having this community.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to create a space where we have a safe space for young adults in recovery who are like-minded and are trying to live better lives, trying to better themselves and enjoy their lives.
Finding purpose through this. So tell us about Big Vision. You have a big project going on in Manhattan.
Yep.
And for all those out there, what is happening? What are you offering? And when is it opening?
Well, yeah, it's very exciting. This was the dream from day one. When I said to my husband, like, I want to open this space, and he kind of looked at me like, okay, whatever, we'll see. And we looked for a space for years, and we were rejected by many, many people, many landlords, because they didn't want our kind of people there. No matter how much I tried to convince them that these are people not throwing wild parties, it's quite the opposite. They wouldn't rent their space to us. And we finally found this space that's fantastic. We bought it. It's in Midtown Manhattan. And what Big Vision does is we are a peer support group for young adults in recovery. So we help them find passion get back to doing things that they did before, just without substances, having fun, finding their passions. And we support them, and we do all these fun activities. And not just fun activities, we have programs that help them stay on a good track, and they get together, and it really helps them being part of this community. And so now we have the space, which is going to be ready in a couple of months. You know, construction has started, and we're going to have all of our activities there. We have a huge space for sober events. We have an outdoor space, basketball hoop. We're going to do yoga, meditation.
I love it.
Support groups, everything you can imagine for young adults.
Absolutely phenomenal. And right now you are helping people already with Big Vision. I think you have activities that you do. So where can we find you, and how can someone get involved?
So go on our website. It's bigvisioncommunity.com or bigvisionnyc.com. And all our activities are listed there. You can see what the new space is going to look like. There's an actual video walkthrough of the new space and all the activities that we do. And if you have people, if you yourself need this help, or you have people out there that you know, everybody's been affected by the disease of addiction. So if you know somebody in your neighborhood, a friend, a cousin, whatever, tell them about us, reach out. We have an amazing staff, and you know, we're there for the sober community. That's really what we are.
There's help and
absolutely.
Support. It's just seeking it and finding out and getting educated again. Thank you so much, Eve, for sharing, and honestly, the work that you're doing, and for being so strong for everyone else.
Thanks, Marcy.